Hey guys, Aaron here. Today we're going to be replacing the sway bar end links on this Nissan Titan. Now, this particular truck's a 2008 four-wheel drive. However, the procedures and parts will be the same from years 2004 through 2015, both two and four-wheel drive. Now, what the driver is complaining about is a noise or a thud whenever going over a pothole or a small bump. Even speed bumps will trigger this noise. So before we begin, let's go ahead and go over the parts and tools we're going to need to get the job done. Alright, so we'll need a 3/4 or 19 millimeter open end wrench, a 19 or 3/4 socket, a 1/2 inch ratchet. I'm going to be using my Impact, a little bit of penetrating oil, and of course our brand new sway bar end links. Now, one thing to note is that these sometimes can be difficult to get off, so the penetrating oil should help. Just last week I removed one off of a vehicle and I actually had to cut the stud off using an angle grinder, so just be aware that's something that you could run into. Now, one thing you may notice is that the sway bar on this truck does look a little bit different than the factory one. That's because it is a Belltech anti-sway bar. It handles really well, so if you're interested in having a little bit of a stiffer front end, a little bit better handling, I'll throw a link in the description of where you can purchase one. Also, if you have a lift on your truck, I recommend getting some extended sway bars that are a little bit taller. So I'll go ahead and throw a link in the description for those as well. Now, one thing to note before we go ahead and start this up is that you don't have to lift up the vehicle with jack stands and all that and remove the wheel. You can actually do this without removing the wheel. However, I've had a lot of bad luck removing these properly. I've had to cut them off a lot of times, like I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to be using some power tools, and so taking off the wheels definitely helps you, give you more room if you are using power tools, which I do suggest. Now, to help us aid in removing the nuts off of the sway bar links, I like to take a little bit of penetrating oil and spray them on the threads. Now we can go ahead and take our 19 millimeter socket and remove the nuts. There we have it. Now let's go ahead and install our new sway bar end link into this side. And before we tighten it down, we're actually going to remove the other side. And it's going to be a lot easier to do the other side with this loose, so we can manipulate the sway bar as we need. Now, once you have your other side replaced, we can go ahead and tighten these nuts down and torque them to 62 foot-pounds. Now that we've got the other side installed, we're ready to tighten down our hardware. What you're going to notice is that most aftermarket sway bar links have a little hex key inside of the stud. This is so we can tighten down our lock nut and not have the stud turn. So that's a 6 millimeter Allen key. Let's go ahead and tighten everything down now. Once we have those snugged down, we can go ahead and torque them down with our torque wrench down to 62 foot-pounds. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Thanks for watching as always. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave something in the comment section. And again, check the links to the description for some good parts at a good price. See you next time, guys.